Hi, my name is Justin Margario, and I'm with the University of Tulsa. I'm going to talk today about college essay writing and hopefully share some tips that you'll be able to pass along to your students. The agenda, or what I will cover today in this presentation, is why do colleges ask for admission essays, some tips for students on how they can get started, some common themes we'll notice among essay prompts, 4 tips for writing great college essays, some details they need to think about, and I will read and evaluate college essays. Before I get started, I've actually heard of students who've decided against applying to a college or university because that school requires an essay. Don't let the students look at this as a burden or a chore. They need to look at it more as an opportunity to tell that college or university a bit more about who they are. The essay is one of the few things they have complete control over in their application process, especially by the time their senior year rolls around. By then, they've already earned most of their grades, they've already made most of their impressions on their teachers, and chances are they've already found a set of activities they're interested in continuing. So when they write the essay, they need to view it as something more than just a page to fill up with writing, and view it as a chance to tell the admission committee who they are as a person. Why do colleges ask for essays? It's because students are more than statistical data. They're more than an ACT score or a GPA. We also use the essay to learn more about our applicants. Like I mentioned on the previous slide, unlike everything else in their application, the students have complete control over their writing. They need to become three-dimensional to the committee. The best way to do that is to write a good essay. Is the essay the most important part of their application? No. Some essays, no matter how good, won't get them into their first choice school if the rest of their admission documents aren't up to par, or if the competition is simply too stiff. The most important piece of their application is their high school transcript, but even then, their transcript and test scores won't tell the whole story to the admission committee. This is where the essay comes in and allows the committee to get to know the student a little bit better. The essay can also be used as a tipping point for admissions decisions if they're not clear-cut. How to get started. This is often the hardest thing for students. They sit down in front of that computer with that blank screen and blinking cursor and they just don't know where to begin. Tell them to back it up a little bit and come up with 2 lists. A list of strengths that they want to convey to the admission committee and a list of activities that they've been involved in. I tell them to take 2 or 3 of those strengths and tie it to an activity. So if a student wants to pick that they're dedicated and organized, they can tie it to an activity, say homecoming chair for their senior class, and have them write an essay about how their dedication and their organization made them a great homecoming chair. Then they should just sit down and write for 20 minutes. Get something down on the paper. Their first draft should not be their last draft. It's just getting something down there that they can work with. We tell them to write from their heart, edit with their brains. Don't ever try to figure out what the university is looking for. Just write and let yourself shine through. There are some common themes among essay prompts for admission essays. The first is the you question. Many colleges just simply want the student to tell us who they are. We want to get to know them a little bit better and have them introduce themselves to us. They can write about a special interest, experience, achievement, or anything else they'd like to convey to the admission committee. The second is the why us question. This focus is a little more provided. They must tell why they've chosen a particular school. How do they think attending this college will impact their future? We don't want them to regurgitate the view book or the brochures. The admission office already knows this information. This is more about what's important to them and their collegiate experience and how they think that particular school might meet those needs. Then they have the creative question. This will really allow the students' creativity to shine through. Some colleges might ask a question like, if you could be any key on the keyboard, which key best describes your personality and why? Or if you could interview any prominent person, living, deceased, or fictional, who would you choose and why? And the last is the anything goes question. This really just allows them to write about anything that they want. Tip number 1 is don't try to impress, just be honest. If the student is trying to figure out what the colleges are looking for, they are already on the wrong track. Rather than trying to figure that out, they need to think about what they have to say. Whatever that is what the college wants to hear. They also need to write to give pleasure to the audience. They will write a way more impressive essay than if they only set out to impress. To kind of put this in context, imagine you were talking with one of your students on the first day of school that you didn't know very well, and you asked them what they did this summer, and they responded with this response. This summer, I was fortunate enough to be given the unique opportunity to perform over 50 hours of volunteer work at a hospital. I sought out the internship because of my interest in becoming a doctor, and I believed that the hospital would allow me to broaden my knowledge about medicine. The experience was extremely rewarding because I felt I was truly making a difference in the lives of the children with whom I worked. You would think that student is trying way too hard to impress you, and that's exactly how it comes across in the mission essay. We want them to be honest and real and let their personality show through. Tip number 2 is own your story. When they're writing their essay, they need to continually think to themselves, could someone else tell my story? If they answer yes, they need to add detail. Take a story that many may have, but inject enough detail in order to make it their own. Or take a common occurrence and make them unique with detail. I'm going to share with you 2 examples. Both ultimately have the same theme, but one doesn't have much detail and the second one does. And hopefully you'll notice example number 2 is much more enjoyable to read. Example number 1. I was extremely nervous before the orchestra started playing. However, I knew that it was an important performance and that I needed to play well. I took a deep breath, relaxed, and did my best to concentrate. Example number 2. I was sitting there on stage with my violin resting on my shoulder, and I was sure I'd never been so nervous. I looked out into the crowd of 200 people and somehow found my dad. He was holding his video camera, the same camera that's been in our family since I was 10. My dad loves recording everything I do with that camera. It's the same camera that he used to record my first home run in Little League and my entrance on stage in my first school play. Now, as I was about to play as first chair violinist in my community orchestra, there was my dad, once again, with our family video camera ready to go. Something about seeing him there just made me feel more comfortable and relaxed. I knew I was going to be okay. My dad gave me a quick thumbs up and mouthed the words, "Good luck." As the conductor raised his wand, I smiled at my dad, nodded back at him, and started to play. As you can see, example number 2 is much more enjoyable to read because it's more story-like. Tip number 3 is don't repeat. The essay should not be a list of activities in paragraph format. They should not be repeating information in the essay that can be found in other parts of their application materials. They need to write about something that the colleges don't know already. We want each piece of the application to give us something new. They need to pick a story not talked about at all in the rest of their application, or choose something that is mentioned elsewhere, then add detail to make it a story. Tip number 4 is make sure the essay sounds like the student. Yes, we want them to receive feedback and input from others, but they don't need to incorporate so much of that input that they lose their voice. This is a direct reflection of them. It's not their parents' essay. It's not their English teacher's essay. It needs to be their work. So they can have someone look over, but they don't need to incorporate so much of that feedback that it loses their voice and it's not a direct reflection of them. Some details students need to pay attention to. Follow directions for length. If no length is given, 250 words to 500 words is a good rule of thumb, or a page and a half to 2 pages double spaced. Also, if they're doing an online application, they copy and paste their essay from a Word document to the online application, they need to make sure all of it transfers over. Sometimes those applications only allow so many characters, and if they overwrite, it won't give us all of their essay, and there's nothing more frustrating than reading an essay and having it stop mid-sentence or mid-paragraph. Often we don't have the time or luxury to go back and track down that student to get the whole essay. So just make sure all of it is transferred over. Another detail is choose a good story. There are no good or bad topics for college essays, just good or bad essays. Some common topics that we see are mission trips and community service projects. And they become very formatic. They always talk about how they expected to give more than what they got in return. And in reality, they had this big epiphany and realized that the world isn't what they expected, and they're fortunate for what they have in life. And that's a great experience that we like to hear about, but know that they become formatic, and a lot of students write about them, so their essay just gets kind of lost among the other students that write about that. If they're going to use one of those topics, they need to make it very unique. Make sure the essay stays on track. They should continue to look back at the essay prompt and ask themselves, am I on track? They need not stray too far from the prompt. Often students try to cover too much ground. They need to focus and keep it simple, interesting, and engaging. Go into detail about one thing rather than try to write about a bunch of little things. Specific details will help them own their story and make the essay come alive. Make sure their essay is technically correct. The purpose of the essay is not necessarily to review their writing style. We assume their essay will be well organized, have correct sentence structure and spelling, and be grammatically correct. Any mistake will just cause the reader to lose focus in their story while reading it. And the last detail is they do not have to use the college name in an essay. If they do, they must remember to change the college name in the essay from application to application. Simply, it's rude and indicates laziness and sloppiness on the student's part. It also allows us to know where else they're applying. Now I will read and evaluate 2 college essays. First one is orchestrating a balanced life. One of the most important goals that I strive for in life is balance. I have personally witnessed fellow classmates who have devoted too much time to sports, resulting in an academic life that suffers, as well as some peers who focus an extensive amount of time on schoolwork, not leaving any period for leisure. I have observed the negative aspects of both extremes and therefore have attempted to harmonize my life with a variety of activities. One primary component to this mix is my strong commitment to my education and growth in knowledge. Contrary to many other students, I have always enjoyed school because of the opportunity to learn new things and to exchange ideas with others. I have been devoted to academic excellence by creating a rigorous class schedule, maintaining a high GPA, and striving for achievements such as introduction to National Honor Society. To balance out my studies and develop my entire person, I have undertaken pursuits in music, sports, and outdoor adventures. I have been playing the piano since I was in 4th grade, in which time I have participated in numerous competitions, performed for various functions, and become a member of the fraternity for student musicians. I've always expressed my passion for sports, particularly in tennis. Although I was cut from the tennis team my freshman year and did not make varsity until my junior year, I refused to let myself become discouraged and continually worked hard to improve my game. It's obviously paid off, because last year I went undefeated during the regular season and helped the team bring home the Missouri State Championship. As a senior, I hope to be one of the top singles players on the team so that I can help defend the title. Another ingredient to my life mix is in my enthusiasm for outdoors. In Boy Scouts, I earned the rank of Eagle Scout and held the highest leadership position. I am an active member of my school's backpacking club because I crave the adventures that come with our monthly excursions. All of these talents and interests mean nothing, however, if I fail to share them with others. Every week through my school's community service program, I try to give some company and excitement to the elderly in a local nursing home by conversing with them, playing cards, or entertaining them on the piano. I became the first president of the youth group at my parish, which created an enjoyable atmosphere where kids get to learn the importance of volunteering in the parish and the community. I believe that a person must develop equally the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of life if they desire to mature into a whole and fulfilled person, and I think I have accomplished this delicate balancing act. That essay was a strong one. It's a classic example that we learned nothing new from this student. This was probably, this is, a regurgitation of their application in paragraph format. They could have taken any one of those examples, whether it be not making the tennis team and really trying hard, but making varsity his junior year, to talking about how he earned his Eagle Scout. All of those are impressive things. He could have taken one of those events and expanded on it and made a story to make it more enjoyable to read. Remember, we want the essay to teach us something new about the student. We didn't really learn anything new about this student from this essay. Essay number 2, Trading Faces. There it stood, a bare and faded dresser, no different from the rest of the random assortment of shabby items collecting dust in the garage. It used to be mine when I was your age, and now I think you ought to have it, pitched my mom, the current saleswoman of the hour. However, I didn't need any convincing. I loved the idea. To me it was a blank canvas, a project, a challenge. I mean, we could sand it down and stain it a deep. Let's paint it white with blue drawers, I said excitedly, the creative juices already flowing through my head. We hastily sanded it down, and several coats of paint and hours of work later, the once conventional Victorian piece had been transformed into what looked like one of those vibrant Greek homes stacked high in a village overlooking the sea. Without my own awareness, the dresser quickly became the focal point of my room. Bright perfume bottles and eclectic homemade jewelry from over the years decorated the crowded counter space amongst the array, or rather disarray, of objects. Movie stubs and memorable pictures of my high school dances lined the outside of my mirror, while old letters from friends and weekly memos formed the next layer of my 3x5 autobiography. My clothes dripped over the pulled-out drawers, while my styrofoam spirit finger jutted out from behind the mirror. I know at this point it seems rather sad that the set of drawers with so much potential underwent a facelift only to fall victim to the mess that is a teenager's room. But believe me when I say it has grown to serve a much better cause. Though my mom may claim that a tornado did indeed sweep through, I believe that is a testament to how firmly it is centered in the swirl of my life. And if the dresser is the storm, then the mirror is certainly the eye. It greets me in the morning before I head to school and gives me the final okay on an outfit before going out for the weekend. It has served as an impartial audience while I bellow out the lines for a speech or clumsily rehearse steps for the school musical. All of the pictures and objects around it literally and figuratively frame the reflection of me and where I am going. True, I am a multifaceted person with numerous interests and activities, but I am also a person yet to be. I have taken this dresser that once belonged to my mother, keeping its past fully intact, yet made it my own. I have taken what's been given to me and made it something great. Basically, the dresser does not represent a single aspect of my life, but represents the sum of all my parts, my past, present, and future. It serves as a track record for where I have been, where I am, and where I am going, and you can bet I am taking it to college. This was a true story. I could, full of detail, I could see that white dresser with blue drawers. I could see her jewelry stacked across the top of it. This was enjoyable to read as opposed to the first one that was just a list of information. This was a story. We got to know her a little bit more, that she has a variety of interests, and it was just really enjoyable to read. This concludes my presentation. If you guys have any questions or need some clarification, please feel free to email me. But thanks for listening.